Are we on?
We're on.
We're on. Sweet.
This is a terrible idea. We didn't tell anybody.
We didn't tell anybody we're going live this week, so welcome to the live version of the Doe and 5-0 show here.
You think we suck after we're edited. Just wait.
So we have time restraints this week. Riley got sick. Sarah's working and was on call, and we couldn't shoot the show like we normally do. So we're shooting it live in Joe's illustrious backyard. He's pretty excited about it with his... that hat looks old as hell, man. It's like... I've never seen a purple NYPD,
yeah,
FD, PD hat.
Yeah.
It's a little darker on the backside, so I don't know if did that thing get bleached or something at one point?
Sun.
Sun.
It was in the sun, yeah.
So you wore your sock hat in the sun.
I did.
Okay, well, you ready to get started, buddy?
Yeah, so it was my suggestion to do a dry run, so we knew what the hell was going on today, but I was outvoted, and Sarah just went ahead and started it, so here we are.
So, bear with us. We don't do this very often. This is, our third time tops doing this, I think. So.
Yeah, because we decided not to do it because we suck.
Well, that can't even be edited out, how bad we are most of the time, so... All right, well, let's go ahead and get rolling, Joe. Out of Arkansas, two Arkansas chemistry professors arrested for allegedly making meth. Did you ever watch the TV show
Breaking Bad?
Breaking Bad, right?
I haven't. I know the premise.
You know the premise?
Yes.
So, for those of you that aren't familiar with Breaking Bad, that's a... was that a high school teacher? I think it was. It's a high school chemistry teacher.
High school chemistry, yeah.
He developed cancer, leukemia, something along that lines, and ended up stopped being a teacher and became like a drug kingpin in,
right.
I think, in New Mexico.
Because teachers aren't paid enough.
Yeah. So, this is kind of along those lines here. So, out of Arkansas, two Arkansas chemistry professors have been arrested and accused of making methamphetamine, according to the Clark County Sheriff's Department. And no, neither of them is named Walter White. That's the main antagonist from the show. So, Terry David Bateman, age 45, and Bradley Allen Rowland, age 40, both associate professors of chemistry at Henderson State University in Arkansas, in Arkadelphia.
Somebody made that up.
They were taken into custody last Friday, Joe, by the Sheriff's Department. They faced charges of manufacturing meth and using drug paraphernalia. The University Science Center was closed October 8th after someone reported a chemical odor, according to Tina Hall.
Wait, coming from the chemistry lab?
Yeah, strange.
Who would have thought?
Hall would not elaborate on what was found following the report of a chemical odor, nor would she confirm whether the professors were suspected of making meth inside of the school. Bateman, 45, and Rowland, age 40, are both on administrative leave. That started on October 11th. CNN, the reputable news source, was unable to reach Bateman and Rowland for comment on Saturday. Both are expected to appear in Clark County District Court once formal charging. See, I would normally edit that out. Decision is made by the prosecutor's office. Here we go. Walter White was the lead character in AMC's Breaking Bad, which aired from 2008 till 2013. That show told the story of Walter White, a high school chemistry professor portrayed by Bryan Cranston, who turned manufacturing crystal meth to secure his family's financial future after he was diagnosed with lung cancer. So that's pretty close.
So I want to know more about this. How long have they been doing this? Have they made a lot of money? How did they get caught? Really, a chemical smell coming from the chemistry lab, that busted them? There's got to be more to it than that. They were stupid. They told somebody. That's what happened.
Well, I mean, if you've ever smelled...
No, I haven't.
But I'm telling you, once you smell somebody making meth for the first time, it's a very distinct odor, and it's nothing you'll ever. It would be unlike anything that they probably would normally smell in their chemistry.
But why would they do it there?
Because they're not intelligent.
Yes, they are. That's what I'm saying. There's more to this story than that.
So, all right.
She looks very sad.
Probably one of the most disturbing stories we've had in a while. Homeless man throws hot bucket of diarrhea on random woman's face. A woman has been left traumatized after a homeless man threw a bucket of hot diarrhea on her face. Heidi Van Tassel was getting into her car after going out for a Thai-style meal near the Hollywood Walk of Fame in Los Angeles, when a homeless man sprinted towards her and pulled her out of her vehicle, then proceeded to dump a bucket of hot feces on top of her head. Ms. Van Tassel was rushed to the Hollywood Presbyterian Hospital following the attack back in April, where she was tested for infectious diseases. Speaking to NBC4, Ms. Van Tassel said, "It was hot diarrhea, hot liquid. I was soaked, and it was coming off my eyelashes and then to my eyes." Paramedics who came to treat me said there was so much of it on me that it looked like the man was saving it up for a month. It was all inside of my car because it was so much. He just kept pouring it and splattering it all over me. It's something I won't ever forget, and it's disgusting.
She's so graphic. It's a play-by-play.
Ms. Van Tessel will now have to be retested for any diseases that she may have picked up every 3 months, and she claims the incident has also left her with post-traumatic stress disorder. She said,
"Oh, no, don't you ever say that.
The PTSD I'm dealing with is beyond anything that I've ever felt. There needs to be some kind of help for the victims of these crimes. Is there a lot of crimes where people get..."
Apparently this happens all the time.
Well, it's Los Angeles. It's lawful and it's changed her life forever. The attacker, identified as Buttafuoco Blessings, was charged with battery. Blessings has schizophrenia and psychotic disorders.
And apparently a bowel problem.
He was seen frequenting Taco Bell and White Castle prior to the incident. No, I'm just kidding. He was sent to a residential facility for people with mental health disorders for 2 months before being released back in August. Ms. Van Tessel said she had empathy for Blessings, although it concerns her that he is back out on the streets. She said he doesn't need jail time, he needs mental health care. I have empathy for him because he needs help. I will never, ever forget his face.
Or anything else.
Or his smell. What's the next thing he's going to do to somebody? If he would have had a knife, he for sure would have stabbed me. NBC4...
No, I don't think he would have. He had a plan.
NBC4 reports that there's been a surge in crimes committed by homeless people in Los Angeles, with the number of attacks in 2018 more than 50% higher than in 2017, and crimes in 2019 on track to climb higher than the 9,846 crimes reported last year alone.
Wow.
So we did that, was that last week, we did that pretty extensive news piece just on Los Angeles,
just
right?
Los Angeles, yeah.
How disturbing things are getting there, so...
I
thought that was a fake story. I did a lot of research on it, and it's a legitimate news story. It's pretty gross.
It sounds like the way she describes it, he poured bucket after bucket. Would she just stand there and wait for her? I'll be right back. Okay, I'll just sit here and wait. You can pour some more stuff on me.
Yeah.
And if he was saving for a month, why would it all still be warm? Unless it was festering.
I don't know, man.
We need more information.
It's all gross.
And she has PTSD. That kind of pissed me off. That's not right.
All right, well, we're going to segue into your favorite segment, although we're not going to be able to do the song because we don't have the background.
I have a great song. I'm making Lee let me do 2 songs next week because I get to say member. How can you pass this up?
Alicia Phillips is watching along with us right now, Joe. She said that's a hot mess of a story.
Oh, boo.
All right, Florida woman Joe accused of a boyfriend wanting to have sex with another girl, then bit his penis. Out of Miami Beach, Florida. She looks a little mean. I'm sorry I can't share the picture with you like I normally do. So. Miami Beach woman was drinking beers with her boyfriend. It always starts with beers. 2 beers.
I only had 2.
Miami Beach woman was drinking beers with her boyfriend for hours before she said she became belligerent and bit his penis. The pair were having drinks in an apartment on Miami Beach from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. And around midnight, a female friend came over and then left sometime after, according to the police report. Shortly after that friend left, the woman started accusing her boyfriend of wanting to have sex with her. The report said the woman then grabbed her boyfriend by both of his arms, yelled at him, and began to poke him with a knife. The victim had
Wait. She grabbed him by both his arms and poked him with a knife.
Yeah. Maybe she got big hands.
How did she do that?
The victim had red marks and redness on his upper chest, but no substantial injuries. He said that he asked her to stop or he would call the police. When they arrived, he also reported that his girlfriend bit his penis out of frustration.
No, this is all stupid. Okay, so first of all, she has 3 arms. So she has 3 arms, and then he said, stop hurting me or I'm going to call the police. If Sarah's beating you up, are you going to call the police? Where would you be embarrassed to? I'd be embarrassed if my wife was beating me up. You'd call the police. My wife is beating me up. All 110 pounds of her is kicking my ass. Please help me. My 3-armed wife.
It's more of a mental abuse thing with the wives, isn't it?
As we've already seen today.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe and I set up our table illustriously like we do every week. Actually, we just leave it alone. And
yeah.
My wife didn't like the layout of it.
So now that you see it's laid out much better, our viewers are going to go way up.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Thank you, Sarah. So she bit his penis. What happened to her?
They took her to jail for battery.
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 It's a very...
Well, in another case of a girlfriend with some rage problems, Joe, out of Pensacola, Florida this time. Florida woman accused of setting unfaithful boyfriend's home on fire. We've seen stories like this before.
We have.
I don't remember if it was out of Florida or somewhere else.
You brought that up, and I said, well, we already did that story.
Nope.
Nope. It's another one.
It's a new nut job. Florida woman is accused of setting fire to her boyfriend's home after catching him cheating. Citing an arrest report, the Pensacola News-Journal reports that 47-year-old Tytha Moore was standing in the driveway of the unoccupied home when firefighters arrived on November 7th.
She's just watching her work.
She told the battalion chief that she recently moved out of the home after catching her boyfriend cheating. The report says neighbors told firefighters that Moore had borrowed a water bottle full of gasoline from them earlier in the day.
Who has a water bottle full of gasoline? What kind of people live here?
They told firefighters that they watched Moore climb over a fence into the home's backyard and try to remove a window screen. It says the neighbors later saw Moore leaving the backyard with the water bottle now empty. Moore was then arrested and charged with first-degree arson. I wish I could show you that picture. I mean, the flames are rolling out pretty good.
Hi, I used to be your neighbor. Do you have a water bottle full of gasoline? Thanks. I'm going to start crawling over the fence, but don't mind me. Don't call the police or anything. And then you get in there. You ever done that before? Your forearm gets really tired. Why wouldn't you just... It's Florida. Because it's Florida. He's just lucky that his penis is still intact.
And he's still got both of his arms.
Or maybe she only has two.
All right, Joe. Well, that's all we got for Florida. We're going to go ahead and segue into the political segment. We got a couple stories out of there this week. So,
all right.
Out of Michigan, we've talked about this before. I can't remember which state it was.
Ohio.
Probably Ohio.
It's always Ohio.
Well, now we're moving on to Michigan.
Okay.
Michigan changes transgender policy for driver's licenses. Out of Ferndale, Michigan, Michigan's Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson says her department is making it easier for transgender people to get driver's license or a state ID card. Starting Monday, those wanting to correct the sex designation on their license can go to a branch office to have their
correct it.
Fill out a form and pay $9. They no longer will need to provide a birth certificate, passport, or court order for this license.
This sounds very safe.
And we have to give DNA samples at the BMV here in Indiana.
Do you want to fly someplace? Okay, all right. But now you can just go to Michigan. All right.
Benson announced the policy change at a news conference in Detroit suburb of Ferndale, where she was joined by LGBT advocates. Benson said studies show that about 80% of Michigan's transgender population lacks the proper identification. Benson, a Democrat, said the change returns to a policy that was in place before the issue was made political.
So, you can just go in there and say whatever the hell you want. You can just go in there and say, I'm a boy. Then you can go back next week and say, for $9, you're a girl. You can be an X. Then you can go back to being a boy. You guys are stupid. Think about what you're doing, you idiots.
Well, I told Joe about this story yesterday or the day before, and I told him I wanted to identify as a rich retired guy. So whoever wants to make me rich and let me retire.
You don't have to be. You don't have to be rich.
I just have to identify that.
You just have to identify as.
I'm just going to go to the fancy steakhouse like Ruth Chris here in Indiana and order everything they have and say, well, I identify as rich. I don't have any money.
I identify as the owner. Therefore, I identify as someone who's already paid. I identify as somebody who left a big tip. Idiot. They're so stupid. What are they thinking? What are they thinking? Oh, I'm an X today. I had a really good skit for that. I thought that would be a good skit. We'll have to do that.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back to normal next week, hopefully. Things calm down a little bit.
When he says normal, he means we'll go back to what we were doing before.
So, yeah, whatever you want to call that, I guess. So,
yeah.
I actually had two stories bookmarked. It's the same, basically the same thing. Massachusetts is doing the same thing now. They've recently passed it where...
Well, of course, because they're on the East Coast.
So.
But what's Michigan's excuse?
Well, I mean, their claim to fame is the University of Michigan and the Detroit Lions. And
yeah. What is it with the Detroit Lions?
They've never been good, really. I mean,
no.
They were semi-okay when Barry Sanders was there as a running back.
Barry Sanders. Billy Sims, when they had Billy Sims, they weren't bad.
So, all right, one more story here.
All right.
We'll tread lightly. Thousands were expected, and they did. This is a day late because we didn't get to shoot the show yesterday. Thousands were expected and did attend the Red for Ed rally in Indianapolis last week. So there's a lot of confusion about what the Red for Ed is. I guess when you're on the outside of looking in, of course, you're you're married to an educator here in Indiana.
Uh-huh.
I've got a lot of friends that are educators here in Indiana. I got friends that are educators in different parts of the country as well. And I never really, until I started getting kids in school, I never really understood how much crap teachers take.
Oh my
I
gosh,
mean, it's
isn't
amazing.
it
And you probably had
something?
no idea till you got married, I'm sure.
No, I did know because I was a student.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's different when you're a student and you're an adult, and then you start.
No,
seeing,
but they hit me. They hit me,
Well, did you
and
deserve it?
yes, absolutely, I deserved it. And things were taken care of that way. But
Yeah.
boy, it's different now.
So, the teachers, they showed up basically by the droves yesterday in
Yeah.
downtown Indianapolis. The Red for Ed stood for Red for Education. It's a national movement that encourages teachers, families, and communities to show their support for public education by wearing the color red, which is what all you could see as far as the eye could see yesterday on the
Yeah.
news. Red as far as the eye could see. Indiana's Red for Ed Action Day was yesterday. It's also Organization Day, which is the ceremonial start of the 2020 legislative session when lawmakers return to the State House and promote their agendas. So the teachers were marching. I think most of the conception was we want raises, which I'm all for, by the way.
No. Actually, that's
It's
just
more
part
than
of
that.
it. Yeah.
But Johnny Q. Public, I think that's what they think.
Oh yeah,
it's all
but
about.
I don't think they should think that. The new teachers aren't getting what they should be getting, but it's about the lack of help that they get in the classroom, the lack of materials that they have, no aids, they have these ridiculous tests that they have to take all the time. They can't teach because they're testing. And these people that make the laws they're not in the classroom. They have no idea what they're talking about. And that's what it's kind of about.
And we see this, and it's not just, I see it even in my line of work, obviously. Politicians make these laws, and they've never spent a day in a classroom, they, as an adult anyway, trying to educate. They've never spent a day inside the confines of a police car seeing and doing what we have to deal with on a regular basis.
Never a day mixing a dough and putting filling into a donut. It's probably irrelevant, isn't it? Okay, sorry. Edit that part out.
Yeah. But anyway, there were three main goals. It looked like that they were trying to accomplish during this march or yesterday. They wanted an investment from the state, obviously, in teacher pay. I'm all for the teachers getting an increase in salary. Because,
Oh, yeah.
Especially as a parent I already feel like I live at the school, especially during the fall time with kids and extracurricular activities. If you drop them off in the morning, you see the teachers and the administrators there already waiting on the kids. And then you go to these ball games 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, and you still see a lot of these same people still in the building.
Right.
I mean, they have insanely long work days, some
With
of these
that
people.
zombie look on their face.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
same one that you guys have.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are some hard-working folks.
Right.
They really are. So, obviously, they wanted an increase in pay. They want the lawmakers to make good on promise to hold schools and teachers harmless from state test scores, which dropped sharply when the state introduced the dreaded iLearn test in the spring.
Oh, yeah.
So do they do iLearn? They don't do iLearn at a Catholic school, does
but
it?
they have something else, and it's just as terrible.
But they have all this ridiculous standardized testing, and you and I have talked about this. I don't know if we've talked about it on the show, but I know that you and I have talked about it before. Of course, my son Austin, very intelligent young man. He took the iLearn, I think it's a third grade deal, which means Riley's up for it this year. And for whatever reason, he's having a bad day. He passed it okay, but he didn't do what
they thought he would do,
what he's more than capable of doing.
Right.
So whether he was feeling not good or was tired, whatever the case may be,
He's a smart kid. He
didn't
takes after
score
his
as high
mother.
he didn't score as high as he normally does on everything else that he does throughout the school year. It's sickening. The kid doesn't even try, and he's a straight A student.
Well,
so.
he was drunk.
Yeah. So, but because of that, he wasn't permitted to go into advanced classes for the following year.
Okay.
And Sarah and I we didn't go around with it, but we pushed for it to happen because we felt like he needed challenged more.
Right.
And basically because of the score of this iLearn test, it was a no-go. So, teachers, there are teachers, most that I have talked to cannot stand this test. It is not conclusive of what most students are capable of doing.
No.
As we experienced firsthand with our son. And even the results of this iLearn test can affect them, the way they're graded doing their job and stuff like that. Now,
right.
when Sarah and I were growing up, we had the iStep, which I think this has kind of replaced that to an extent. Do they still do iStep? No? They do something. There's all this ridiculous standardized testing, and there
Right.
doesn't seem to be a teacher, at least around here, that can stand any of it.
Well,
So.
it doesn't make any sense.
So basically, the way the iLearn is, scores which are used in the state letter grades plummeted statewide with the administration of this new test. Lawmakers have said they'll pass legislation to hold the districts harmless should their letter grades put them in danger of state intervention. The scores are also used in teacher evaluations. The Indiana Department of Education has issued guidance to schools, allowing them to use previous year's scores in this year's evaluations. And then the last part of it is professional development requirements. So the new rules passed last year requires teachers to log 15 hours of professional development each year, related specifically to the community's workforce needs, like available jobs and skills needed by local employers, before they can renew their teaching license.
Mm-hmm.
So
They do give you things that you can do. It's not as bad. They're not going to a classroom for 15 hours. It's not as bad as what they're making it sound like. But they do need help in the classrooms. It's just, and we've talked about this before. If your test scores are below a certain level, they cut funding. It's like, no, you dumbass. If our scores are low and we need more help, how bass backwards is that?
Yeah. Well, kind of put it in perspective, at least here in Indiana, excuse me, the average salary for an Indiana teacher is $35,943 a year. Mm-hmm. And again, to me that's insane because, again, as I stated a few minutes ago, seeing how much time, effort, and energy these teachers put into their classrooms every year.
And once again, it's not even you see the teachers when you drop them off, but they get there. My wife goes to work at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah. And
then she stays at least an hour afterwards. She goes there on the weekends. She starts 2 weeks before school starts, 2 weeks after school ends.
Sorry, I misspoke. That's the average, national average for a first-year teacher is $35,000.
Okay.
Average pay for all teachers in Indiana during the 2017-18 school year was $50,000. The problem with that is here in Indiana, that's significantly lower than any surrounding states, which is a fact that was often cited by teachers and their advocates. A study released earlier in the year found that it would take over $650 million, Joe, to bring average pay in Indiana up to the regional median, but the teachers would still be behind where they were back in 2000 when adjusted for inflation. So you can look at the map just here, the Midwest here. Michigan makes almost 62 a year, Ohio at 58, Kentucky at 53, Illinois at 66,000, and then we're averaging right around $50,000 a year here. I mean, we're getting annihilated by everybody around us. So. According to the national average, Indiana ranks 35th nationally for starting pay, according to the research. So I don't know how. Did your wife go down for that yesterday?
No, she did not.
Okay. So my kids got the day off. They think it's a free day, but they're going to have to make it up later on.
Yeah, it's not a free day.
Ticked off about it, so they'll be mad when they have to go on a nice day when they're supposed to be out. Right, so. But that was a big ordeal here in Indiana yesterday, and seeing the national average and stuff like that, you can see why
they're a little upset.
Yeah, they're upset, and I can sympathize with that for sure. And a lot for overtime for teachers, that's what a lot of it is when they're coaching basketball, track, football, whatever. They're doing the clubs after school or music, art, whatever the case may be. That's their form
Meth
of
labs. Meth labs take a lot of time.
Meth labs. That's probably their biggest turnaround for quick profit, though. So. So we wish all the educators luck, obviously moving forward with their goals.
Yep.
I know it sucks to be at the mercy of lawmakers.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Might be time for me to take an early retirement and go make donuts.
I think that'd be a great time for you. The show is going to change a lot if he does that. All that stuff that gets edited, it's going to be on the show.
Just go live every week.
He probably said to me 3 times before we did this, "No, we're going to be live. Watch what you say." Oh, dang it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, you got anything else you want to add before we shut her down? It's getting a little nippy out here.
It is. My fingers are numb, and my coffee was frozen by the time I finished it.
Iced coffee.
Iced coffee.
All right. That's all we got for this week's show. Thanks for watching along, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.